My name is John Allen. I'm the pastor at the First Congregational Church in Milton. Our church's ministry has been transformed by listening to our neighbors. 4 years ago, when the search committee that called me to this position was preparing the church's profile, they met with leaders in the community around Milton to learn what those leaders felt our church could offer the wider community. When they met with the high school principal, he was worried about the state of youth mental health. Not too surprising. The police chief was worried about it too. He said that the students who gathered in the woods around a campfire with a case of beer seemed different now. Seemed like the atmosphere was less festive and more about becoming numb. Even the librarians felt it, and suddenly everywhere the search committee looked and whoever they asked, people in our town were worried about the kids. It was around that time that a study conducted by the schools confirmed what everyone seemed to know. Depression was nearly twice the state average. Anxiety had skyrocketed, as well as a whole host of other risky and unhealthy behaviors. It seemed like it was all bad news. As the conversation in the wider community continued to circulate around the growing concern for our teenagers and their well-being, members of our congregation started to ask the question whether this might be an invitation from God, a nudge from the Holy Spirit for our church to consider what a ministry to youth in our town would look like. And so we continued listening to the Holy Spirit, and we continued listening to our neighbors. The town of Milton hired public health consultants to make a plan to move forward with improving the mental health and well-being of teenagers in our town. We were listening to our neighbors and listening to the Holy Spirit when we saw at the top of that list that the town needed a place for youth to gather after school and in evenings on the weekend, a place where they could be, a place where they could belong, a place where they could connect in a safe and supervised but unstructured and free environment where they could be themselves and get to know one another more deeply. We believed that we could offer such a space, and so we began discernment, and then planning, and then fundraising, and now construction on a 3,000 square foot youth center that will be housed in our building. The town of Milton will use the space to run an after-school program for our middle school students in town, and we're talking with other community partners about using the space for programs for older youth on Friday and Saturday nights. The church is offering the space for the town's use at no cost. It's our gift to the town of Milton, our way of serving people in our community who are hurting, and our way of showing that God's love reaches out and touches people no matter who they are or where they are on life's journey. If we hadn't listened to our neighbors, we may not have heard this need. And if we hadn't listened to the Holy Spirit, we may have missed this invitation. But now our church has a reputation as a place that doesn't only care for the needs of its members or the people that walk through the doors on Sunday morning, but as a place that cares about the whole community. and we are embarking on a new season of ministry with new partners and with renewed enthusiasm that our church has an important role to play in bringing hope and healing to our corner of creation.